As our coach said, it's going to be a dogfight, but we are ready for that. And it's 90 minutes. We need to give everything. So yeah, we need to be locked in.
At the end of the day, the fans would see it. We've been trying to represent them on the pitch, and we are going to give our 100% every single game for them. And
can't wait to get back and put on, the RSL jersey and in front of the fans that have been amazing support. Without them, without RSL, I wouldn't be where I'm at right now. So I'm extremely grateful and I'm excited.
What's up, RSL Nation?
Welcome to the Royal Riot.
Salvas gets it away. Catranes, the square ball. Diego Luna! It's Diego Luna now trying to turn. Luna! Oh, it's in! What a goal! A lot of space for Johnny Russell. Johnny Russell! His first start for Real Salt Lake. His first goal for Real Salt Lake. Magnificent from Real Salt Lake. And Noel Kaliskan with the best goal he's probably ever scored.
Oh, turns, overlap on the right side. Gonçalves! Yes!
Brian Ojeda. Here's a Ghana, third time. Is it a charm? Malagon! Luna! Yeah! Cabral has been insatiable in goal. Zuniga now! Cabral, the hero! Man! This guy's good! They have found a keeper! It's Salt Lake City!
If you're looking for the best clothing deals in Salt Lake County, one place stands out for the price, quality, and the selection, and that's Zalzo. Zalzo is your destination for up to 70% off premium and mid-luxury brands every single day. Tucked just off of 3900 South in Murray, Zalzo carries the brands you actually want to wear at the prices you're happy to pay. Run over to our store today and see for yourself the weekly updates to the always impressive and expansive inventory of both adult and children's clothing. While you're here, don't forget to check out the weekly markdown racks with even steeper deals. Stuck on a work call? Go to Zalzo.com. That's ZALLZO.com for information and a listing of in-store deals. Zalzo, you'll come in just to look, but we know you'll leave hooked.
Welcome in, Royal Riot. We have a special interview and episode for you today. I think everyone's pretty much in high spirits. I am David, of course, taking over from Hayden. He cannot live off of our $100,000 salary that we give him every year, so he has to actually work and go on work trips, which is, it interrupts the pod, and we'll talk about pay raises later. But also, I'm with LD. LD, how you doing?
What's up, David? I'm doing really good. I'm getting hyped just after we had that awesome interview with an RSL player that I'm sure those who were live got to see. We got to interview Serge, and so that was really cool. You're going to get some cool insight on him. But I'm also just hyped after an awesome RSL game. Like, that was a really cool one to watch. I also am hyped because this is the first time it's just me and you. I mean, this is it's like one of those special featured episodes where they're crossing. I'm not really crossing the universe because we're on the same podcast, but like one of those special episodes where it's like LD and David's side quest. So I'm excited to see how we do in this episode.
Of course, it's not like Maddie or Sadly or Hayden with LD. This is a unique episode, and like LD mentioned, we're gonna have a player interview attached to the end of this episode with the RSL goal scorer, Sergi Solans. But how did you feel on Saturday watching the game? Everything this weekend? Pretty good,
dude. It was amazing. So I'll have to preface, and this is again the running joke is that I always have to drop that I'm in Miami, right? And so my one drop of Miami is that I got to go see the Inter Miami home opener at the new stadium. Dude, freaking world class. I know there's a lot of people that hate hearing about Miami, and I totally understand and I get it because it's true. They are very much favored by the league. But if you ever get a chance to come out to Miami, I am pleading for you to go see their stadium because it is like as world class as you can get for a soccer specific stadium when it comes to MLS stadiums here in US. I literally sat in my seat and I felt like I was about to watch a World Cup game. Like it was so cool the way that they've structured it on the inside, the lighting, all just the technical things that they have going around the stadium. It was awesome. The fan base is just electric. You get a lot, obviously, of that Latin American vibe, which is really fun and cool to see. A lot of construction still on the outside, so that part wasn't pretty, but that's to be expected. They were trying to reach deadlines just to be able to make that game happen. So I think their focus was getting everything inside the stadium done, and then they would just work from the way in and into outward. So I think it's going to be marvelous. They're planning to have like a shopping center there. It's going to be like malls and restaurants and like a public park surrounding the area. So a lot of cool stuff that's happening. But to go from that experience and watch that game that they played against Austin and see that live, then to come home and I turned my phone on airplane mode because I didn't want to know what the score was for the RSL game. I didn't want no notifications. I don't want any friends texting me about the game. And I came home. It was like 11 o'clock at night. I'm just hyped on this experience that I had at Inter Miami's new stadium. And then I turned on the RSL game. And little did I know that I was going to be even more hyped watching the Claret and Cobalt just absolutely rock SKC off the field. So I'm excited to get into it, man. It was a fun Saturday for me, a fun Saturday full of soccer. Not to mention, I got to watch before that Inter Miami game on TV, a wild Colorado-Toronto match that was just insane. So like MLS was just so awesome on Saturday. I had such a good time.
And then we don't get a game on Saturday. Isn't that perfect? You know, get us all hyped for nothing.
Right.
Well, and we are, I believe, one of the only teams with Seattle that aren't playing this Saturday. So remember to keep up with your fantasy team nonetheless. And just to go back to that Inter Miami stadium, anything stood out about that stadium? Like, I don't know if they had any cool concessions or anything. I know it's like super new, so
yeah.
don't know
so
what happened.
As far as the concessions, that was actually the worst part of it. It felt like TSA lines up in that stadium when it came to concessions. They clearly did not have all the vendors ready or available, even the gate of the game. So there's basically only 2 to 3 locations around the stadium that was offering food. It was the classic chicken tenders and fries, hot dogs. They had some like empanadas and croquetas, which are some popular items out here in Miami that people like to eat, but all fried food. And it was miserable, the lines for it. So that was my only downside. But like, I give them some grace because, again, they were just trying to make it so that people could get into the stadium safely, watch the game safely, and enjoy their time. But I would say the coolest thing about the stadium is just, so they have like it's covered, obviously. The whole where you sit is covered, and it has the little circle opening that you can see into the field. So it's nice for if it rains, which in Miami, it'll be like super sunny weather, and then out of nowhere, there'll be 5 minutes of just epic downpour, and then it'll go back to being nice and like sunny or nice weather at night. And so that'll be nice for all the fans to stay dry. But then they have it has like an opening. So you still get all like the natural airflow from the breeze that you get in Miami and everything like that. So you're not just enclosed in the stadium with only air coming from the top circle. It's coming through all around the stadium through the ventilation. That's how they have it set up. And then the sight lines are incredible. Like no matter where you sit in that stadium, you just have amazing sight lines. Like when I was at their old stadium, I was 9 rows behind the goal, fantastic seats. When I saw the prices for what it was going to be to sit 9 rows behind the goal, I was like, I'm trying to get another season ticket because I wanted my wife and my son to come with me to the game. So 3 total. And I just couldn't afford to sit 9 rows behind the goal at this stadium, being able to see Messi every week. So I elected to go to the upper deck, basically be on the front row. And I was a little concerned being further back, but it's like amazing. Like I feel like there's not much of a difference from when I had my original seats in the original stadium. So it's just a really cool stadium. It's unique. There's nothing like it really in the league from what I'm gathering and from any of the stadiums I've been to, and I've been to a good amount of stadiums. So it's just a really cool experience. I think, like I said, if you're ever in South Florida, like make a reason to go to an Inter Miami game just so that you can like go to the stadium. And there's probably going to be a lot more developed by the time you get out here for whatever reason that is. So yeah, just a really cool thing to see. And it's just cool to see MLS grow this way. I think that's been the funnest part about it.
And of course, this isn't an Inter Miami podcast, but I do have one more question.
Of course,
do you think it's kind of disappointing they didn't win their new home stadium opener? Or how do you think the feelings were after the game?
You know what? I think, of course, everyone would have loved a win. I think it was cool to see just all of the energy of the stadium being there now and like just having a stadium in Miami. They had the Moss brothers who are the owners and David Beckham come out on the field beforehand and give a big old speech to the audience, which I think got everybody very hyped. Mark Anthony sang the freaking national anthem. So there was just a lot of like plenty of energy. I think that like even though the game ended up being a draw, it still kept throughout. They had a freaking like after party with a DJ after the game. And I was like, okay, they kept announcing it during the game. And I was like, okay, there's no way anybody's going to stay for this thing. Like we've all been here for like 5 or 6 hours because everybody wanted to get there super early to beat traffic. Like everyone's ready to go home. No, dude, I was walking past ready to go home so I could get back for the RSL game to watch it on TV. And it was like, I could count probably at least 300 people just like jamming out to the DJ partying. Miami's just built different that way. So it was, I think the energy was still fine. I think it also helped that Austin took the lead both times and they were able to fight their way back. It's always easier to celebrate a draw when you were down and potentially about to lose than when you're got the lead and then you give it up, you know? So I think that also helped. I wish Hayden was on the podcast right now because me and him love talking about how much we hate Austin fans. And as an RSL fan, I can't stand them. And going to watch them, obviously I was supporting Inter Miami to win that game. I could not stand Austin fans the whole time while I was there. So just as much hatred when I'm rooting for RSL or where I'm rooting for another MLS club against Austin. They were super annoying, but it was still a fun atmosphere, fun to have them there and create some banter with the other fans that were there sitting next to them. So yeah, all in all, dude, it was just a really cool night.
Dude, super cool. That sounds amazing. Well, and you know, Hayden and I were on the West Coast and at America First Field. I would say we got the better game of, you know, the two. I don't know.
I'll agree.
It seems
I'll
like
agree.
The vibes were immaculate. Yeah. But we got a win, a 3-1 win against Sporting Kansas City. And I am with the only person that predicted a 3-1 win. So you are, I believe, ahead in our predictions, our Royal Riot predictions. I know, LD. I was so close. I wanted the shutout. I think I was more hopeful for the shutout than realistic. I was like, you know, Joveljic is really good. And I said this to my friend the entire time. It's like Sporting Kansas City doesn't have much, but they have him and he can make something out of nothing. And he did this game. But we'll go, you know, play by play. It starts off pretty hot. You didn't have to wait that long for a goal. And it's the guy who needs a goal. Like who needed it more than pretty much anyone on this team for the U.S. men's national team radar. But Diego Luna gets a goal in the 4th minute. Okay. We have Xavier Gozo starts the play, sending the ball forward to Noel Caliscan, which he gets 2 assists in this game. This is one of the first. Finds Luna in space just outside the box. And I don't even know what the Sporting Kansas City players were thinking in a sense. Like no one was like really marking him and they were a little bit too far to even approach him. And he just took it, fired it off his left foot and strike the bottom right corner, giving Real Salt Lake the early lead. How did you feel about that goal, LD? Because honestly, that was what all Real Salt Lake fans wanted.
Oh, dude, and the fact that it happened so early, I think that's what made the stadium light up even more so. I know Poch was grinning ear to ear watching him score that goal because, you know, a lot of doubt has been, I don't know if there's been a lot of doubt, not amongst RSL fans, but maybe amongst more casual MLS fans or just the general media who cover, you know, the U.S. men's national team that think that Diego Luna is a little bit more on the bubble than we think. I don't think he is, honestly. I think Poch really likes him. I think he wants a player like that on his World Cup roster. And then to see Diego Luna just come right in and immediately make an impact like that was incredible. And you could see just how excited he was, the way he ran to the corner and celebrated. But yeah, I was sitting on my couch. Like I said, I was expecting to be pretty exhausted after going to the game and then coming back to watch the RSL game. And I was just hyped. And then just to see Diego score within the first 5 minutes of the match, essentially, was just like had me jumping off my couch. I loved the way that he just took that shot. It was just so clean, you know. A lot of times when you're outside the 18, and we'll get into players who just absolutely smash the shiz out of a ball outside the 18. Don't worry, that's coming up soon. But with Diego, right, he elected for really good placement over power. Obviously, you need to put a good amount of zip on that ball to make it to that bottom corner. But just the way that he was able to finesse that around the keeper to get that into the back of the net was amazing. It takes a lot of skill to be able to pull off a goal like that. It helped, again, that there wasn't much pressure from the back line, you know, being able to keep him from closing that window. But yeah, just an awesome goal. It's a classic goal that you would like to see Diego Luna score because those are the kind of opportunities that he's going to get in this formation, in this scheme that we have going for RSL. So not only that, when he gets to the U.S. men's national team, like if you think of a lot of the times where he got the ball, it was in those central pockets where he was able to either, turn and make something like similar to what happened in this game occur, or obviously coming in from the wings and inverting and be able to make a play from that approach as well. So I think it's just Diego continuing his streak of being a player that is going to be super impactful for us. He's our star, but that can also be a big contribution to the U.S. men's national team. So I was just so happy that he was able to answer some questions right away. Like I think the questions out there were, does Diego Luna still have it in him these last couple months or so to be able to make the World Cup roster? And I think this goal is a good starting point for that answer to say, yes, he is.
Yeah, of course. And I will say this is we had a couple of crossbar hits. I believe Sergi Solans hit the crossbar in the 22nd minute, but
Right.
Sporting Kansas City didn't have really any looks except for that one. I believe there was one where one Sporting Kansas City player got onto like the right side.
That British
and
guy.
Gozo, yeah. Gozo was tracking him, and really, I don't know what happened. That was a lapse in defending, to be honest,
Right.
because Gozo was tracking him way hard, and no one was really helping out Gozo get over. And you could see like 4 Real Salt Lake defenders on like in the box, but just kind of like a little bit more central. So I'm like, dude, you need to help out, this 19-year-old
Right.
defend. Luckily, that ball didn't go in. We went into halftime 1-0. And like I said, there was not a lot of opportunities for Sporting Kansas City. There was a ton of opportunities for Real Salt Lake. And there was a VAR kind of review at the end. I'm not going to lie. I was getting a hot dog, so I did not see that part. But I did watch the recap, and I honestly think, other than not giving out a yellow card maybe to either Real Salt Lake or Sporting Kansas City player early on, because I thought there were some fouls that deserved it, and we got our first yellow, I believe, late on in this match. I would say the referee did pretty well. But we come out of halftime, and you want to double this lead. 1-0 is not good, and we all said it. We wanted a blowout against Sporting Kansas City. I think we got pretty close. 3-1's a good scoreline. Xavier Gozo, okay? He serves the ball to Sergi Solans. Sergi, and this kind of worried me a little bit, because what you will see too is there was a couple times in the match that we were in the box and we were not shooting. Like we were playing with the ball a little bit. And so when I saw Sergi take that extra touch, I was like, no, this is PTSD from first half. But then he places it perfectly past the keeper to make it 2-0. How do you feel about Sergi Solans scoring his first home goal for Real Salt Lake?
It just continues to cement how legit this kid is. And you guys are going to hear in this interview just how much of a rock star this guy is. He's such a cool dude, such a nice guy. Sometimes when you talk to these players, it's a little intimidating. And maybe it helps that he hasn't, like, I don't know, I think he's arrived, but he's not like, top of the league, like being talked about a ton, right? He's making some noise, obviously, with the goals that he's scoring. So maybe it wasn't as intimidating in that aspect, because, he's obviously still trying to make his way into this league. But he was just so easy to talk to. His answers were awesome. He was giving us, really detailed answers about, his feelings and thoughts with everything. So that was really cool to hear. Back to your point, right? There were a lot of times throughout this game where I was getting so frustrated because I felt like all of our players were being so unselfish. Like, it was so annoying. Like, I was like, guys, we could have put this game away a lot earlier if we could have finished better. But 2, if people decided to just shoot more, I think there would have been a lot more goal scoring opportunities at hand than there were. Morgan Gilavogi was kind of, again, giving me a little bit of anxiety around the goal, because like there'd be times where I'd be like, bro, shoot the ball, shoot it. And he was always just electing to look for that extra pass or that little extra move with the ball. And it was just making me so frustrated. So I do wish that, players like Morgan and other players that were in and around the box would be a little bit more selfish. And I think Diego Luna said that in his post-game press conference, that he thinks, or maybe it was Gozo, it was one of the two, saying that if they were a little more selfish and tried to, really just shoot and see what happens, that there could have been a little bit more of a padded lead, let's say, in this game. But going to the goal, first off, Xavier Gozo, man, he is also making noise. And I might be a little bit biased, but like, if you're Pochettino, why not throw this guy on your World Cup roster? Like, he is someone who's making a ton of noise. He's hot right now. He's like the young kid who's trying to prove himself and is proving himself right now. I think he would be an excellent addition. I know there's a lot of argument for other players that could be on this World Cup roster, but if you want to just throw in a flyer and say, like, let's bring in a kid who's hot right now that can score in multiple different ways. He's an energizer bunny. The kid never runs out of energy. He's going to give you everything he's got and probably make it the whole 90 minutes doing that. I think the thing is, in the World Cup, you're not going to need him for 90 minutes. So imagine him running around like a crazy dude for 20 minutes. Like he's gonna be crazy. But anyway, watching him take that ball and just I can't remember who the defender was, but he put him on skates, dude. The way that he was able to go left, cut right, make the defender turn his shoulder, and then cut back left to be able to. And what I liked about that was when he cut right, he opened up a little bit more of that space for Serge to just kind of trail off Gozo's left shoulder, which gave him enough space to have a good angle of that goal for when, instead of going with his left, which a lot of people could have done, or would have done, sorry, cut back to his right foot and then place that in. So it was a fantastic setup by Gozo. But then for Serge to have his two crossbar hits earlier in that game, and to be probably, a little bit frustrated. And, as a forward, you get into your mind really quick. If the ball hits the crossbar twice, sometimes at that point you're thinking it's not your day. Like you're not going to put a ball in the back of the net. But Serge ignored all that. He was able to stay composed, calm. Like I said, I think a lot of players would have taken it with their left foot when he had it on his left to try and get that shot in. And he decides to cut back in, hit it with his right, find that window between the keeper and the right post. And it was just an excellent clinical finish, and I was so happy for him. Needs a little work on the celebration. He did the slide and just landed flat on his face. I think he'll have plenty of practice with that. So just a really good goal. It's awesome to see how involved Gozo is in our attack and everything that he's creating for us. And then also to see Serge just continue to pile up on his stats with goals and assists and being able to really just cement himself as the number 9 right now. I think, plainly, you're not taking this kid off the field. Victor Latunji obviously has done really well for us even this season, but right now, Sergi Solans is the guy that you go with. So I'm really excited for him. I was really excited to see that goal. Before I pass it back to you, David, I want to apologize to everyone for my voice. I'm not sick, I swear. But like I said, I was at an Inter Miami game at their stadium opener, and then I came home to just scream more at the TV, watching RSL put all their goals away. So my voice is recovering from that epic weekend I had.
Dude, no apologies. And I want to just go back to that as I think Gozo gave Serge enough space, and rarely that happens. I see so many times that they pass it and that center back is just waiting for it, but just gave it enough space for that. I want to apologize too. I actually didn't announce the lineup. So, I'm being a bad host right now by previewing all these goals. I do want to go back and say, of course, yeah. I would say that Cabral, we did have our back three that has been pretty much set in stone. Engel, Glad, and Quinton. I had a huge conversation about Quinton on the way home saying, you know what? Yedlin's going to be coming back soon. You got to play Quinton still. Right. You can't, he's doing everything right. You can't just be nah, Yedlin's coming back. You wait until he has one of those bad games or, congested schedules or whatever, and then you put Yedlin in because he is one of those players that has stepped up. And we're going to go into the midfield. Catranas got the start, which was needed. Okay. Sanabria has been great, but we need Catranas to play during this time. So when he is called upon again, he's not, I've never seen the pitch before. This is my first time touching this grass in front of, the home fans. Kaliskan, a guy who has stepped up immensely. Yeah. So he was in the midfield. Spearings gets his first start, and then Gozo, which we're going to get back to Gozo, obviously. That was the finale. That was the cherry on top this game. But we had Morgan, Solans, which we've said it too. He is scoring. You don't take him off the pitch, at this point. He is gaining confidence. He's gaining experience, and he is showing that he can be 1 or 2 for this Real Salt Lake squad and blowing everyone's expectations out of the water. Really. I didn't believe, I would think that a lot of us were he'll play Monarchs. We'll see him a little bit and kind of be more like Jesus Barea, which he was very unlucky not to see his first Real Salt Lake goal. We'll get to that. But that was in the 93rd minute. And I feel so bad for him too, because what I said last podcast is true. Is I love these super draft guys, but they need to be, contributing goals and assists. And what's great is Solans has. And then you have Luna coming back for his first start of the season. Now, we're halfway through the game. really. We're in the 5th minute, and this is where my prediction, well, it just goes to the trash because Dejan Joveljic, and I would say that it wasn't against the run of play, but like you have Jake Davis playing a ball to Justin Reynolds, who finds Joveljic just outside the box, and he does have a lot of space.
Yeah.
But I will say he did have a really good strike. Honestly, debated with my wife for a good 30 minutes what was the best goal of this game, and she was saying Jovelic's for a long time. I was like, no way. We'll get to the best goal of the game. But he fires the shot, left post, deflected into the net. And Sporting Kansas City kind of have a lifeline. 2-1 is a dangerous scoreline. They have the momentum now, but Real Salt Lake, they endure a lot of the pressure I saw, and Sporting Kansas City still didn't make a ton of chances after that play. I felt like the ball was more in their half than it was in the first half. The ball was in the attacking half of Sporting Kansas City is what I'm trying to say. But then Xavier Gozo scores, oh my gosh, one of the best goals that we have seen this season. And again, Caliscan adding to his stat sheet. It really is Sign Spearings. He starts this play out, giving it to Caliscan on that right side, and then finding Xavier Gozo on kind of the top of the box. And he just like pumps it up a little bit, and just I wouldn't consider it like a full sidewinder, but really just darts it to that left side. And that's when I knew I was like, this game is over. Xavier Gozo is going to be one of the top 5 MLS out of bound transfers so far. I'm not going to say forever, but this is the team. 3-1 Real Salt Lake. What was your reaction to that goal? That goal was so amazing.
Yeah, and listen, rarely am I going to give any love to SKC players, but I'm going to give some love to Joveljic. That goal was incredible. And honestly, your wife was right up until Gozo scored his goal. Joveljic had the goal of the game with that finish. I don't care which goalkeeper in the world you put in between those pipes when he hits that, no one's stopping that. That was an incredible goal. The way he hits that off the post and then to go into the back of the net. It was just a fantastic finish. But again, Gozo is just showing why, again, he's going to be, I agree with you, one of the highest outbounding transfers that MLS has seen in a long time. I think, I honestly think a Bundesliga club might come and get him. He kind of gives me a little feel of like remember when Alphonso Davies left to Bayern? Like it kind of has that feel a little bit. So anyway, I think he has the size, the speed, just the kind of physique of his body, that skinny, lean, can kind of get his way to where he needs to with the ball. So we'll see what ends up happening with that. But it was so interesting when I was watching it in real time. First off, Noel Caliscan, love that the guy got 2 assists. He definitely did not have to do much work on either of those assists. His assist to Diego Luna was basically the most open pass you could to one of your most dangerous players on the field, center of the pitch, right in front of the 18. Great. And then Diego Luna goes and does his work. And then his pass to Gozo was literally just a little tap to Gozo. And Gozo said in his interview that he took a bad touch, and that's what caused him to have to hit that volley, which is so crazy to me because when I watched that live, and I watched it over and over and over again, and it looked like he popped that up on purpose to try and smack that volley into the top corner of the net. And so when he told me it was a mistake, I was like, dude, there's no way. Because like the way that he pops that up, you usually see, if it's a bad touch, a little bit of hesitation by the player, right? They do a little like stutter step or whatever they need to do to set themselves up if they're going to try and attempt that volley. It pops up, and then he just absolutely smacks it into the top left corner. And so I just thought it was very interesting to see that was like unintentional. But I mean, man, he finished that like crazy. It was cool seeing the crowd. Like, when it's a good goal when that ball's halfway through the air. And like half of the crowd is already standing up going like, and then he scores and everybody just goes crazy. He runs to his family, just starts dapping up his entire family. Like that was so cool to see. Hayden showed a really good shot he posted on X of Diego Luna lifting him up from behind while they were celebrating that goal. It was just pure elation, I think, at that moment. I think KC, they're not a great side this year right now, at least starting off, but they went and beat LA Galaxy away. Right, they went and beat LA Galaxy in their, and I know
I
LA
have
Galaxy.
my thoughts on that. Yeah.
All right. Well, and here's the deal: it's MLS. Anything can happen. So just because SKC isn't playing great, I saw some things about like, okay, well, we're doing this against like SKC. listen, it's MLS. Anyone can beat anybody. I have seen much worse teams beat much better teams on any given day. So I think it was pure elation from our fan base, and I think it's a sense of like, this is legit. Like, this is for real. This team is legit good. Like, sometimes we go on these runs during past seasons where we look really good, but then we kind of like fluke out, or we like get a win that we don't feel like we should have won. But it just seems like every result we're getting, we've deserved, and we feel like we are like meant to have that result. And fortunately, it's been a lot of positive results. It's been a lot of wins that we've had recently. So I think it's a lot of the fan base in that stadium watching from their couches, looking at it on social media. It's just a lot of confirmation showing that this team is legit. This team is like capable of doing some really awesome things. I think this team can contend easily for a top 4 spot. Obviously, it's a long season. Injuries can happen. A lot of things can happen. Unfortunately, we have a huge World Cup break in the middle of this season that can, stunt a lot of momentum, unfortunately. But seeing how Stein Spearings was so composed in the midfield and really just did something that we haven't seen from a lot of midfielders on RSL in a long time, right? He's given a lot of Kyle Beckerman-ish vibes, just the way that he's running around that midfield, staying composed, helping direct the back line, helping be able to direct the midfield, getting involved in the attack. He's doing a lot of really cool things in that midfield. Obviously, we're seeing the things that we've talked about from Gozo and Luna. Noel Caliscan is doing just as well in the midfield. We just have a lot of stuff clicking. Catrianis came into this game, and it's like we didn't skip a beat. Like he came in, and like I didn't miss Sanabria.
He did a good
for
job.
a second. Yeah, like there wasn't a point where I was like, oh man, I really wish we had Sanabria right now. Like Catrianis was doing so well. He played in an excellent ball that I think ended up being one of the crossbar hits that Sergi hit off the crossbar. So anyway, I just think this team is in a really good spot right now, and you can feel it. You can feel it on this when you're watching them on the field, when you're watching them in interviews, seeing how happy they are. I mean, we felt it talking to Sergi today. Like they're happy, they're excited. I think they're really stoked to see what's happening with this team, and us as fans get to kind of have a front row seat at it, which is really nice.
Yeah. And I would say that like the results don't feel like an anomaly, right?
Right.
Like I felt like that with Atlanta United. I was like, oh, I don't know. And then the San Diego game, I was like, okay, we're really good.
Yeah.
And it's going to take a lot to like get this team to like have a bad stretch. I feel like there's so many players that are stepping up when we don't have the first team player in that position. Like Aiden's played great, and he's out on injury, a knock, but when he comes back, like we have the next man up mentality. And just to go back, and I didn't want to give context to our audience, top 5 transfer for MLS outbound is around 16 million. Now, no one knows the for sure number, but that was a Ricardo Pepi when he was 18 getting sold to Augsburg. And Javier Gozo, 4 goal contributions in the first 6 games, is on track to do what Ricardo Pepi did. And not only you have the youth of he's just 19, but the numbers to back it up. It is going to be crazy. And what I think this season's going to come down to, because we are playing so well, and I do think it's going to take a lot to get us, into a losing streak or anything with the players we have now. This season's going to come down to is how well Kurt navigates the summer transfer window.
Yes.
Really, that's it. Like if Kurt navigates the summer transfer window very well, we're going to be top 4 and see what the playoffs gives us, because the playoffs it's crazy. If we do another summer transfer window like 2023, I believe, or was that 2024? 2024.
Yeah.
No, then it's going to be
it's
going to be a disappointing season where, again, as Real Salt Lake fans, we were playing amazing. We were playing some of the best soccer in MLS, and then we transferred one of our U22 players and got another U22 player, which I have my thoughts on that. I don't think a U22 player in form and season, you can replace him with another U22. You have to replace that person with a DP. But when we talk about Gozo, he isn't a U22 player. But how do we navigate that? Do we try, can Kurt get him loaned back to Real Salt Lake until the winter? Like, these are all things they are going to define the success of Real Salt Lake this season. And I'm really curious just because, dude, when I saw that, Gozo's gone. I'm sorry.
It was just like,
said. I was like,
it's like the cartoons when you just see the cash signs pop up in people's eyes. Like,
yeah,
that's how it felt like when he scored that. I mean, to your point, I'm confirming what you're saying, because from what I'm hearing from interviews that I hear on the radio, basically whenever Kurt Schmidt is talking, even Trey to an extent, when I've heard him on some other, whether it's his podcast or other avenues of media that he does, it sounds like there's definitely going to be moves made in the summer. Like they're not planning to just sit still this summer. And so, I mean, what's going to happen to Gozo? Potentially what's going to happen to Luna? Like we still haven't even talked about if Luna ends up making the World Cup roster and he makes some noise at a World Cup. Like, what does that look like for us, right? Imagine if Luna does that, and not only that, but Gozo also, again, I think it's a long shot, but if Gozo makes the World Cup roster and there's any sense of like appearance from him on the field, I think that automatically, again, ups his transfer value. So I just think there's a lot of potential that could happen. And Kurt has a really cool opportunity to either, stick to his guns and say, unless we reach this number, we're not selling either of these guys. Or if he does end up selling them, start using those mechanisms that are in place to really bring in a difference maker and a game changer. Because I agree with you. I think how they handled Gomez and Marchuk in 2024 wasn't the best route for success. It was kind of like we're getting a replacement that we hope does something in the rest of that fall part of the calendar. But if not, we still have him for the next year and the year after that. But the problem is that when Andres Gomez was producing so much in that season, and literally the guy that was giving us all of our success outside of Chicho Arango, that was a really big piece to give up. And I think it was a lot of expectation to have Dominic Marchuk come in and just think that he could just pick up right where Andres Gomez left. And so I agree with you completely. This season, if we end up losing someone like Xavier Gozo or even a Diego Luna possibly, you need to have someone come in that's a DP and will come in and really make an impact right away for your team. And it has to be a DP that's like a DP. I don't want any of these DPs where it's like potential DP that you can label for right now, but eventually we make him a tab player. Yeah, exactly. Like I don't want one of those. It'll be really fun to see what's happening, but just how cool of it is it in this moment that we're able to see this type of soccer happening, this type of success, and that this is even a possibility that going into the summer, we could have a lot of fun watching what the FO is about to do. So some exciting times, times coming up for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And I will have to say, I'm like 90% sure they're going to sell Gozo, because you have to do the proof of concept that our academy works. And our academy is, I believe, one of the best academies in the United States and an MLS system. But the one thing it has lacked is that big money transfer. So you really need to show it. And so if you do get top 5, 16 million plus, or however it works out, because, there's sell-ons and however they do it, I would say you have to, not in the sense that you want to. And well, I say that, but that's what they said about Andres Gomez as well. They said like, we're selling him for proof of concept. And I will give it to Kurt. They did try to get Andres for the rest of the season loaned back, but either you do that, right, which would be amazing. Gozo would probably, this is his hometown. This is in front of his family, would love to still like have a last run with Real Salt Lake and get to an MLS Cup and have success here, even his last 4 months. But if not, yes, you have to spend money. You have to bring in someone that can step in. And I would say too, we saw Dom actually for 10 minutes of this match. He did not look really out of place either, at that right wing back. So we maybe need to start, I wouldn't say giving the keys to Dom, but you want to maybe see some of these players like Aiden, like Dom on that right side and make sure they keep getting minutes and they're not just stashed away and not seeing MLS, at all. And
was Aiden on the bench?
No, he's injured. Okay. He got a knock.
He's injured, right? Okay.
Yeah, That's before. Right. Really on the bench, right? We can get into that. Of course, I'm saying I'm a horrible host. Didn't even talk about the bench. But Sam Junkwa came off the 72nd minute. That's probably because Catranis hasn't played a full 90, in 6 matches.
Yeah. Right.
That's a lot to ask him. Victor Olatunji came in. He had some good moments as well. Griffin Dillon is another player that he's getting more minutes than I expected, honestly. I know I was like a Dillon fan, because I was watching his progress on the Monarchs. I didn't think he would get as many minutes as he has been. Dominic Marchuk getting about 10 minutes, coming in on the 84th. Then Jesus Barea, which we've already mentioned, hit the post, I believe.
I wish I would have did.
Yeah. He needed I would say he's needed a goal for a long time. The one player that didn't get a goal that we're all kind of just waiting for, Morgan. You need to
Yes.
get, but
Let's talk
still,
about this.
yeah.
Let's talk about this. Okay, let me pose this question to you. Do you feel like is he a guy that needs to be scoring goals? So obviously, if you're in the attack, you need to score goals. So I'm not saying that he can't have any goals, but if Gozo's scoring, if Diego Luna's scoring, if Solans is scoring the way that they are, okay, do we need Morgan to be really getting that many goals, or do we just really need him to be that key piece in setting up a lot of these goals? Because, like, let's not, I think we actually glossed over his nasty flick to Gozo that set up the Solans
Yes.
goal. Like we didn't even talk about that. So, like, that's the hard part is, like, I was pissed at Morgan a couple moments before that amazing flick to Gozo because I felt like he held onto the ball too long in the box and then didn't shoot. And I was so mad. I was like, Morgan, like, I was like, dude, you need to start scoring goals. Like, enough of this, like, extra pass, fancy smash. Like, you need to start putting the ball in the back of the net. I was so upset. But then I see him do the setup to Gozo with that nasty flick. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not even mad anymore. Like, you're doing your thing and you're giving us opportunities to score in a different way. And so I don't know if I need to change my perception. I think part of it is, like, I've seen his highlights in his other previous with those previous teams, and I've seen how he can finish. So part of me wants to, like, see that more here with RSL, but I don't know, like, maybe I need to change my perspective of just thinking, like, okay, maybe Morgan's not going to be that guy who's getting, 10 plus goals and assists. Maybe he's getting 5 to 6 goals and like 12 to 13 assists. I don't know. So what are your thoughts on that?
Well, first off, I think what I'm seeing from Morgan is he is creating more assists. Obviously, that's what he's known for stats-wise right now. But I do like him because he's never invisible, right? He isn't invisible in matches. But I just hope that his frustration of not scoring goals leaks into his, like, performing in other ways, because that can impact a player. So do I think in the next 5 games, Morgan needs to score at least 1 goal? Yes, for sure, 100%. Just for his sake too. Like, this team is playing so well, and he is playing well. Like, he's not putting in bad performances. He deserves one, And so I know we were a little bit unlucky in our final third, a little bit too. And I would agree with you as well. We played with the ball a little bit too much sometimes. Like, I remember 2 plays that I was like, oh my gosh, no one's shot that. We were being too, I would say, fancy with the ball as well. Like, we're trying to find, like, the perfect shot. And I was like, okay, or just take a shot, because I don't think Sporting Kansas City, well, I do think their goalkeeper is actually decent, but they're a team that you put that ball in and you don't know what's going to happen. So Morgan, like you said, he showed his print on the match. I think that's going to be enough for me for right now. But in 5 games, I'm going to be like, what's wrong? Like, why can't this man? We need a penalty too. Just give him a penalty. We haven't had a penalty this season too.
And what makes it easy right now is that we're winning, right? So you don't have too much to complain about Morgan because, 1, we're winning games, and 2, he's helping us win those games outside of scoring goals. Like, he's setting up really good opportunities, whether that's straight assists, secondary assists, whatever it might be. So I don't know. And if you think about it, the first few games when we weren't at our full 11, right, we were having to play a lot of our bench players at first. He was getting a lot more opportunities. And I think that's because he was the more experienced guy on the field. Obviously, he's new to the team, but he's been playing soccer for a good amount in his career so far. So it seemed like he was getting into more positions in the attack to be able to put the ball in the back of the net more often. And he was either missing them or just not shooting, and whatever it might happen. And he wasn't getting goals. Now I feel like he's getting less and less opportunities, but it's because we have Diego Luna out there. We have Xavier Gozo out there. We have Sergi Solans, who's playing at a high clip now, who's, like, starting to really, like, show himself as the starting 9. So maybe because all these other players are so, like, just on fire in the attack, he doesn't need to have as many opportunities to try and score a goal. So now it's like, I'm only seeing him really be a part of the setup now, instead of being the guy who has the ball at his foot trying to put it in the back of the net. Now, don't get me wrong. I still think there were, like, 1 or 2 chances in that game where if he would have shot the ball, he could have potentially had a goal to his name. But he just either took too long or tried to go for the pass instead. So as long as we're winning games and we're winning them in the way that we expect to win, I mean, the cool thing about this team right now is I think we know what to expect from this team, right? Like, we know how we're going to play. We know how this team is supposed to function. And that's really cool to see, because it sucks when you're winning games, but you're not really sure how you're winning games. And right now, we know how we're winning games right now. Our defense is staying intact, right? The midfield is helping cover any of that garbage that gets through that could potentially harm the back line. And then our wing backs just absolutely release and help in the attack to make those defenders in the other on the other side of the field have to just stay honest, right, when it comes to the opponent. So there's a lot of good stuff happening when you're watching this team, and a lot of consistency with how we play, but not enough consistency to be easily figured out. And that's because we have so many different tools and weapons on the field that make us versatile. So yeah, I guess for right now, I'm okay with Morgan doing what he's doing because we're winning games and he's still involved, right? Just like you said, he's not disappearing. He's not Diogo Gonçalves where you just don't see him. And then every now and then he does a cool little flashy thing. But I think, I'd eventually like to see him start scoring some goals. But for right now, I guess we can give him the pass as he continues to gel with his team because he's doing really well, still being involved, even though the ball's not going in the back of the net for him right now.
Yeah, we can't be too petty when, like, this is our start to the season. You know what I mean? I'm
Right,
like,
yeah.
I want a shutout so bad.
Right.
But I'm like, okay, well, we won 3-1. That's still a great result. I know
Absolutely.
that ESPN took us down the power rankings, which someone posted on X, and I'm like, this makes no sense. Like, we won 3-1 at home. I don't think
Yeah.
that shows that we, missed a step. But I want to just go real quick over the standings. Have LAFC, who was red hot, 6-0 win. Thank you, Heung-min Son, for my fantasy team. That was a great win for them. Vancouver Whitecaps, they are proving, I thought they would take a step back. They're still doing pretty good this season. San Jose, I would say, along with Real Salt Lake, has been the big surprise this season.
They're a shocker, for sure. Yeah.
MLS analysts, they sold a lot of their big names. They're relying a lot on youth, and it's doing great.
Is it the Timo Werner effect? Is he having much of an impact on that team?
Let me just check their latest win over San Diego. I don't even know if he got on the score sheet. So I'm just going to let it load. Yeah, he didn't score against San Diego. Their 3-0 win. So
Interesting.
when I think of San Jose, it's their youth, actually. He didn't even start.
Oh, wow.
Timo Werner. He must be injured or international. I don't know. I have to
Interesting.
look that up. But really, Roberts is playing amazing. Preston Judd's playing pretty good. Nico, the player, they're 10, that he's a U.S. men's national team youth product. He's been screaming to play for San Jose for a long time, and they have not been giving him minutes. But we're right underneath them, 4th in the West. That is not bad at all. Losing one game to Vancouver, which we all said we looked pretty good in as well. And yeah, we're on 13 points. San Jose Earthquakes are on 15 points. We're tied with Seattle, who also has 13 points. FC Dallas is in 6th, San Diego in 7th, and then pretty much the usual suspects, I would say. And I wanted to go back to the LA Galaxy. They lost 2-1 to Minnesota United at home.
Yeah.
It's not the Galaxy's year. Like, if I see even Sporting Kansas City, right? Didn't they win against LA Galaxy?
Yep. That was the game they won.
I just don't think maybe I mentioned it before. I'm sorry if I'm a broken record, guys. I have no idea why the MLS analysts put LA Galaxy top 5. I did not see anything that they did this offseason as amazing, and they still have 0 GAM for this reason. We still have like 2 million. We have money to spend in the summer within the league or to acquire it from outside the league. But we're sitting in a very good position. Of course, we have another break, so we're not playing this Saturday, which really I don't love. We have momentum, and it's basically going to stop. Any final thoughts on this Real Salt Lake team that is 4th in the West, 13 points out of 6 games before this break?
One thing I want to comment on is I love what Pablo Mastroeni said, and this kind of came to some comments that you made about, not having clean sheets, because I was the same way. I'm like, man, I actually wanted to predict a 3-0 win for RSL, but in my mind, I was like, we haven't been getting clean sheets, and every time I predict a clean sheet, we don't get a clean sheet. And I was like, so let me not predict a clean sheet, and then we'll probably end up getting a clean sheet, even though that didn't end up happening. Pablo, in his press conference, said, at the end of the day, like, clean sheets are great. And he was talking about, he's a defensive guy. He's a defensive stalwart dude. That's what he played, his entire life. Defensive midfielder on the back line. And so I think more than anyone, he wants for sure to have a clean sheet. But one thing I liked about him, or about his comment that he made in the press conference when asked about this, was he said, I don't want to send the guys in there thinking that we have to get a clean sheet. Because when you have that mindset of wanting to get a clean sheet, it could potentially limit how much your guys are willing to attack, because at the top of their head, all they're thinking about is don't get a goal scored on you, right? Don't get a goal scored on you. But if we're just going to be attacking and scoring goals, then I don't care at the end of the day, like what the score is. If we leak a goal, we have to score 2 or we have to score 3, right? And so I like that mentality, because sometimes I think we've had RSL teams of old where it's been kind of like that, like, let's make sure we're defensive and like we have our defensive structure and setup like really, formed out, so that like when we play these games, that like obviously we want to go and score goals, but that at the end of the day, we're not going to get scored on so that we can win games. And that just sets up for boring soccer. Like you just don't want that. And so I love that Pablo's kind of taken the brakes off of like, yeah, sure, like I would love a clean sheet, but like I also love scoring 3 goals a game, right? So like, let's go ahead and just be really focused on being clean in our responsibilities and in our tactics, and really just wanting to take the game forward and create as many threats as possible in their end of the field. Because if we can score 3 goals, then we're okay with them getting 1, right? Or maybe even potentially 2. So I really like that mentality. I think it sets up perfectly for the type of personnel we have. I mean, like, think about it. We're playing Gozo at right wing back. He's going to have to learn how to be better defensively, right? Like you said, there was some issues that we potentially had a goal almost scored on us because of some defensive liability there. But he's going to get better. Obviously, that's going to help. But I like the idea of like, let's have more of an attacking focused team, because not only does it create for more entertaining soccer for the fan base, but I think it's just the way that you are successful in MLS, right? Obviously, you can't just like not defend. And I'm not saying that that's where we're at, but the way that we're attacking, it's almost okay if we let a goal in. There hasn't been too many times this season where we've gotten scored on, and I haven't felt like that we still can't come out of this game with a result. And that's been really nice to see. So that'll be really nice to see going forward. It was a fantastic result. I know SKC isn't like the top of the food chain right now, but we've also already played a lot of teams that are kind of near that top of the food chain. So don't forget that. Like, we've had a hard start to the schedule. There's a lot of points in there that I thought we were going to drop potentially that we haven't. So just because we beat a lower SKC team, I don't think it discredits anything that this team is doing right now this season, which I'm excited to see. And I'm excited just to, hopefully take this break as they continue to develop more as a team and build that chemistry that can take us into San Diego. And let me tell you guys this, watching Miami live this season so far, I am so excited for that eventual game to happen in Salt Lake.
So excited.
Because let me tell you this, and this might be a little bit early, but I'm kind of in the mood of just analyzing Miami and RSL's potential matchup right now. Because I was thinking about this while I was watching Miami on Saturday. If RSL, don't get me wrong, like, we have to be good defensively against them, because they're the type of team that will absolutely punish you. They will. You got freaking Leo Messi. He will make something happen. And even if you think you're up on them, you're not, because they know how to come back and fight their way back into a game. But if RSL is playing the way that they're playing and can click the way that they're playing, guys, I'm telling you, that game in Utah
is going to be amazing.
It's going to be a freaking good game, because Inter Miami is vulnerable in that defensive third of their pitch. And so there's going to be a lot of fun matchups and a lot of cool things. I will just say, I know a lot of people are sometimes jealous because I get to go see Messi all the time. I would wish I could make it out to Utah to watch that game in Salt Lake or in Sandy, because I think it's going to be such a good game. And I think these teams match up really well. And I think if you put both of these teams right now playing at their finest like moment, I would pick RSL, just because even though Miami is such a good team from an attacking standpoint, their defense is just so liable. And I think Diego Luna, I think Xavier Gozo, even Sergi Solans, I think can really intimidate that back line. So I'm excited for that. But we're still a couple weeks from that. So we'll eventually preview San Diego next week. But just kind of wanted to give you a little teaser of how excited you guys should be for whenever these guys in pink come out to play in Sandy, Utah.
We're going to have to do a midweek episode for that. Guess that game.
Ooh, that's a good question. It might need it. We might need a special, because like usually what we do is like if there's a double game that week, we usually do like cover both games. But Miami and RSL feels like it either needs its own episode, or we're just going to have to go longer than we normally do, because there's just so much going into that game that we need to cover.
Well, that's a 3-game week too. Like, there's going to be so much to unpack during that time, which kind of sucks, because right now we're like, well, we can't even preview a game like for 2 weeks straight, because we have bye weeks. But I want to say something, just final thoughts, is I do love this Real Salt Lake team, because it is the perfect balance in a sense. If you guys know a little bit of RSL history, we do have the MLS record for least goals conceded in an MLS season. Do you know how many goals it is?
Oh, that was the 2011 season, I believe, correct?
Yeah, it was 2011.
And I
It's a
want to say,
ridiculously low number.
wasn't it like I feel like this might be way too low, but was it like somewhere between like 12 to 15 goals?
No, that's pretty low. That's so low. That's too
Okay.
low. It was
Okay,
20 goals,
20 goals. Okay.
which
Okay.
is insane. That's not going to
Yeah.
be ever broken in
That's
MLS
nuts. Yeah.
history. Like, we
Yeah.
have that. If we could add something to the stadium, no, I'm kidding. That's too much. But that is
Yeah.
definitely not going to be broken. But that was like Jason Kreis ball, right? Like, you saw
Yeah.
super duper great defense too. And I think that actually created the RSL nation that we know, is that we're fans of the defense and the offense as
Right.
well. And people were very knowledgeable, and they knew what a diamond formation was. And the very knowledgeable RSL fans came out of that age. And then you had the Mike Petke era, which, quote unquote, no, I'm just kidding. I don't remember this verbatim, but he was just like, I don't care if we lose 1-0. I don't care if we lose 5-0. And we lost 5-0 multiple times in a season with Mike Petke. Credit to him, though. I always thought that, other than what I think Pablo is doing now, Mike Petke
Yeah.
always played youth.
Right.
And he developed some really good youth players, honestly, for Real Salt
Yeah.
Lake. But I love this balance, right? It's not that we're going to only concede 20 goals a season and play very. It was still fun. You know, we were
No, yeah.
taken very seriously, but our attack is doing so well. And I think we have that balance with the back three, that they're doing their job, right? I think there are some defensive lapses. And I also think that, you know, Joveljic doesn't get that goal, I would say, I don't know, 3 times out of 5. That was a really good goal, like, really hard shot. And I don't think a lot of people gave him enough credit. But I would say, to me personally, not just because I've joined this podcast, but one of the best seasons as a Real Salt Lake fan. Go ahead,
Yeah,
LD.
I want to add to that comment before we end, to give the flowers to the fan base. Usually these early spring games, they're kind of hit or miss, right? Like, they're still not usually games where the stadium's packed out. That can be for a number of reasons, right? There's spring breaks. There's all sorts of things going on in the spring in Utah. Weather also plays a factor into it. I was so surprised to see how filled the stadium was. Not because I don't think the team doesn't deserve it and doesn't need the support, but usually when you watch these spring games, especially maybe the home opener is like a decently packed game, but then you have a couple games after that in the spring where it's kind of like semi-packed, but you still see some spotty things here and there. And then, like, as we get into the summer, usually summer is RSL's time. Like, that's where all the you know, the games are packed out. It was so cool to see like an early April game, and it still wasn't like super hot, was it? Was it a little chilly in Utah?
I had like a sweater on, but then I felt like I could take it off. I would say this, that there was like a little bit of wind, like the air was kind of cool, but the sun was beating down, and it would, but like you said, it was still very good vibes from the crowd.
Yeah, and it probably helped that it was a little earlier, you know, maybe them being later, and so maybe those later games. But anyway, regardless, I was just so impressed with how packed that stadium was for an early April game. Like, I don't feel like the stadium is usually packed out like that. And again, and Hayden and I have been beating this like a drum this whole time we've been doing this podcast. If the team performs well, if you put a good product on the field, if you put exciting soccer out on the field, and you give the fans a reason to show up and root for you, they're going to do it. That's how Utah fans are. Like, Utah fans aren't even very fickle. Like, if you think about the Jazz are horrible, but Jazz is king in the state of Utah.
Let's not talk about that.
But regardless, they're going to have that support. And so I think RSL kind of needs to be a little bit more successful than the Jazz get away with. But the nice thing is that it's easier to have success in MLS than it is the NBA, fortunately. And so I think it's showing right now the fruits of that like, if you have a good product, if you win games, if you show that you care about like potentially contending for trophies, like, the fans are going to see that and they're going to want to come out. And I think this last game was a perfect example of that. I'm really stoked what the Millers are doing right now with this team. I think they've hit everything so far. They've hit the nail on the head with everything. So hopefully that just keeps going, that keeps building, and it keeps showing itself on the field. Because the more and more this ball keeps rolling, man, the more and more support's going to show up. And RSL is going to be the team that like nobody wants to miss a game and watch out on. So I'm excited to see that. But yeah, man, we're just in a good spot right now, and this was a really fun episode, dude. I like having the two of us. Maybe we got to kick Hayden out every now and then, just so me and you
I'm
can
not
ball
gonna
out a
send
little
him an
bit.
invite next Monday, so no worries.
There we go.
No, for sure, this is an exciting time to be a Real Salt Lake fan. Thank you guys all for listening to my thoughts and LD's thoughts. You know, they're not that good, but you guys took the time out to listen to us. And stick around. We are going to attach the Sergi Solans interview to the back half of this episode. So we will see you guys next week when we preview the San Diego game. And for everyone at the Royal Riot, have a great weekend, guys. Thank you guys so much for all the support and all the comments. It means the world to us and all of that. So thank you so much, LD, and have a great day. Bye, guys.
Bye, David. Go RSL.
Go RSL.
University of Utah fans, we have fresh new gear for you to elevate your game day and everyday style. Check out brothersforlife.com. That's brothers, F-O-R-E, life.com, where you will find the freshest, officially licensed U of U merchandise. The Blackhawk collection is a dope accessory for fans, alumni, and athletes who rep the U with pride. The design blends iconic U of U branding with a distinctive Brothers for Life aesthetic, making them a standout addition to any Utah fans' collection. BFL Promotions can also assist you in creating custom-made products for your brand or an upcoming event. BFL Promotions is your one-stop shop for a vast array of promotional products and business gifts. Their extensive offering of products will ensure that you find the apparel, bags, drinkware, awards, and much, much more to help you promote your brand. Check them out today at brothersforelife.com and see why so many people use BFL Promotions to show up and to stand out.
If you're sourcing inventory for TikTok, Whatnot, eBay, or Amazon, Titanic Sales was built for you. We specialize in closeouts, overstock, and opportunity buys on name brand products. In this market, sourcing is everything. Titanic Sales brings you the deals that haven't been picked over, with pricing that leaves real profit on the table. Whether you're testing new products or are ready to scale, we provide a consistent flow of inventory across dozens of categories. Buy smarter, turn faster, and maximize your margin with Titanic Sales. To learn more, call Kevo today at 801-860-8061. Again, the number to call for amazing deals on a wide variety of inventory is 801-860-8061. Titanic Sales. Big inventory, bigger margins.
Royal Riot Nation, welcome to the player interview segment of our podcast. We have the awesome opportunity and privilege to be here with none other than Real Salt Lake's newest forward. You probably have heard of his name recently. He's been making a little bit of noise, Sergi Solans. Sergi, how's it going, man? Thanks for coming out.
Thank you for inviting me. Very good. After a win is always a nice time.
Yeah, I bet. And man, it was such a good win, and we're going to get into a lot of just the really cool things that you've been doing for Real Salt Lake and your involvement with this squad this year. But before we get into that, I kind of wanted to get a little bit of your background. I know, we had a little bit of your prior history. You're obviously a college standout, played at Oregon State, played at UCLA, had a lot of accomplishments and achievements you collected there. But I kind of want to go back to maybe your roots as a kid and when soccer became one of the center components of your life, when it really started taking over, and how from that moment took you all the way to now being a professional soccer player.
Well, I think I was one of these kids back in Spain where we used to play soccer since we were like 4 years old. In a normal club, in my city, I was always trying to look for the best division to play, to get better every day. And this was until I was 15, 16 as a normal player in my city. I was good, but nothing crazy. And then when I was 16, Girona FC came and gave me the opportunity to go there and play on their academy and have the opportunity to live in the residence. It was a huge step on my life because I had to leave home. It's not far, it's 2 hours away, but it is still like living home, living alone with 16 years old. Not a lot of people do that. My motivation was always clear. I'm doing all these sacrifices just to be pro. I think That was my mentality always. And then I spent 4 years and a half in Girona. It was a great time, good times, bad times, difficult times, injuries and everything. And and then after 4 years and a half, I mean, they didn't offer me the contract that I was wanted to, or that I thought I could deserve. You can say whatever you want. And then Oregon State came up with an offer. My family, basically my mom, she really liked the opportunity to go to US, study and play soccer, learn a new language, new experience, new people, new cultures, everything new. She was so excited for that. I had to take some time to decide. Honestly, I had to take almost a year and a half to decide to go to US. But yeah, I mean, when I took that decision, I was fully convinced that my next step would be in America, trying to achieve something that in the beginning is very difficult to achieve, that is getting drafted. But everything went so smoothly. I mean, I had the privilege to have very good teammates, both universities, good teams, good coaches, and they helped me to perform good, to get me better every day, and basically to score goals. My life is based on goals, on stats and numbers. So when these things go right, then my life is easier. And after that, after the first year I got drafted, I had some not problem, but was a tough situation because I wanted to leave and go already to Real Salt Lake, but they offered me a second team deal. So then I couldn't leave the university without having my school paid. So I had to stay one more year. Then the head coach left, so I had to take another decision to change universities. I mean, UCLA, as you can imagine, when UCLA reaches out to you, it's like, okay, you need to go there. It's LA, it's amazing, freaking amazing, to be honest. I spent the best 8 months of my life, and then after, as I was said to my mom, I mean, nobody gave me anything during these 23 years. I had to work hard to accomplish the things that I wanted to. So I mean, I'm very proud to have this opportunity to first got the contract and now to have the opportunity to play and score goals. I mean, it's basically the dream came true.
Yeah, that's so amazing. And what an awesome just peek into your history as a soccer player. And now that you're here with Real Salt Lake, we're so excited to see what you have to accomplish. I wanted to talk a little bit about your success that you had in college. Obviously, you were a standout at Oregon State and UCLA. I saw that you won the Big Ten conference title with UCLA, which I believe was their first ever conference title. Is that correct, Sergi?
It was the first Big Ten title. Yeah, exactly.
Big Ten title. Perfect. Yes. And then that was against Michigan, where you scored 3 goals in that match. Watch the highlights. I ask everyone to go back and watch those highlights. He had scored some phenomenal goals there. And you were named the most outstanding player of that match. And one point I wanted to highlight was I went back and I looked at a post-game interview that you had given after that game. And you had, said your comments in English. And then you had a special message to Catalonia that you got a little bit emotional about. And you could just see how much that meant to you. Can you go a little bit into why you were feeling so emotional and just all that passion that you were able to show in that interview?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it was because, I mean, I remember that moment, my family that was there, helped me along all my life. I mean, first my dad bringing me to every single training, then my mom holding me when I was sad because I was not scoring during moments in my life. And then because my aunt that passed away almost 4 years from now, 3 years and a half, she was one of my persons to follow on my life, person that really impacted on me. And that's why I always look at the sky after I score. I mean, I do everything for her because I know that she's there helping me on the good moments and also in the tough moments. So I think I had to speak a little bit in Catalan to basically give like say thank you to my family, to her, and to everyone that helped me. And after, I know it's not crazy winning a Big Ten title, but at that moment, it was a good accomplishment for me.
Well, and I think that's what's so cool is you showed so much emotion. And hey, don't get me wrong, winning a Big Ten title is a big deal. Okay, you wear that with some pride. I mean, but it's cool. It's cool to see you be able to show that passion, and I can't imagine what it's going to be like as you continue your career, continuing to show your passion and your heart on your sleeve. So I'll pass the time over to David. I'm sure he's got a couple questions for you as well.
Yeah. So one of my first questions is, because you were drafted almost a year ago, Did you follow the team a lot last year? Did you watch a lot of Real Salt Lake games or MLS thinking that you would potentially play for this club?
Yeah, I would say not as La Liga because I'm a Barca fan and I'm always watching La Liga games. But yeah, I was trying to watch as many Real Salt Lake games as possible. Also watching other teams. I was in LA Galaxy Stadium a lot of times because we become friends with Ricky. So yeah, I was watching the league. And also, I think the Spanish coach that I had in Oregon State and UCLA, helped me to a lot of this, sending me clips and sending me games of MLS games. Actually, he asked me a lot of times, like, okay, what you could do better here? What do you think you have to finish this action or things like that? That made me involved in the league, even though I was in college. So yeah, I was trying to follow as many games as possible.
No, so that's amazing. And we do have a lot of Real Salt Lake players that have gone that college route. Has anyone in, of the first year of being an MLS player from a college player really have helped you with this jump and mentored you in a way this first season?
Do you mean in Real Salt Lake in our
Real Salt
roster?
Lake. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, having the example as Phil and Noel, as Griff, that he also was in college for 1 year, or Jesus, Ruben, also in the second team. Yeah, I mean, that's a good thing that Real Salt Lake has, that they believe in college players. And yeah, I think these guys helped me in the beginning to get used to the professional world, even though I had to be honest. And in Girona, I lived a very professional world life where I need to suffer and have good experience, but also suffer a lot living with players and now they're in first division. So yeah, I think I had a good base to start, but definitely this player helped me. Yeah.
Great. And just one last thing about this year, of course, the World Cup is coming to the United States, and your home country is one of the favorites to win that World Cup. So congratulations. I don't think we're thinking that USA is going to win, but hopefully go far. What would you say is the expectation or maybe your hopes for this Spanish team this summer?
I mean, I think the Spanish team needs to finish the World Cup at least in top 4. Of course, during the World Cup, it's so difficult to win games. You only have one chance. There are a lot of things, a lot of aspects that can influence you in a game. But yeah, I think the potential quality of the players that they have, and I mean the performance that they did before, I think they should be on top 4 for the World Cup. Yeah.
Oh, it's great. And they obviously have world-class players. The expectation, I think, for your country is definitely pretty high. And I know in Spain too, it's always like that, right? Every World Cup, it's, since 2010, it's really been.
It is.
Hayden, go
because
ahead.
we focused on 2010, but the players from 2010, they are not here anymore. So I think we need to come again and think of the players that we have right now and try to not put that much pressure, But yeah, the Spaniards, we are like this.
Sergi, thank you so much for taking the time out of evening and coming on this episode, especially after you're on a hot streak, you're scoring some goals. For RSL, it really came into the season where we had 2 guys up top that all RSL fans knew very well, right? Victor Olatunji and Ari Piol. And Sergi Solans, when you looked at the roster, it was kind of like, oh, who's this? Oh, this is a draft pick. Draft picks seem to, sometimes it's awesome. We get those diamonds in the rough. Caliscan, you mentioned Anelli. Now you, obviously, coming out of college. What was your game plan going into the season to get minutes? And did you expect to have this fast of a start where you're the starting 9? It really looks like you have claimed that spot. And you keep scoring. So what did that look like for you going into this season, maybe preseason in Portugal?
Yeah, I knew back in December, at the end of December, when I was talking with Salt Lake, having the opportunity, almost signing for the first team. I had to train back home, to take care of about my alimentation, to basically take care of my body, because the only thing that I could control was my body and was my mind. It's nothing that I can control besides that. So I think I focus a lot on that. Also in the first weeks too, my objective was so so basic and so clear. I mean, your heart, you have to be or try to be always ready to play. This means that I cannot be injured, because injuries this will give you like this back, So that was my goal, always be ready. And when I had the opportunity, prove myself and show myself why I could be a useful player for the staff. I tried to make this in Portugal, the first 3 games. I think after that, the coaches were happy with me. But then I had to go to Spain again to do my visa and my passport. So I also had to work back home again alone, the same as in Christmas, like focusing on my body, on things that I can control. And then when I came back here, the objective was the same. Every opportunity that I had, prove myself. And the opportunity that I'm having right now and the start that I have been accomplished, it's to be very proud of. But it's only the beginning. I want to keep having this start, having these minutes, but I know it's also very hard having this quality of players on the team too. So this will take me like effort, hard work, and scoring goals.
Absolutely. I mean, if you keep scoring goals, it's pretty hard to take you off the pitch when you're playing like that. So, Sergi, going into this next month with Real Salt Lake, we've got San Diego coming up. I mean, we should have had Seattle this week. That got rescheduled. We got San Diego, Miami, and then we got Galaxy. A pretty good next 3 coming up. What are your expectations for your personal play? And then what do you think of this group? I think that a lot of the MLS media was pretty down on RSL to start the year, and they've really awoken, and you've been a huge part of that. You're definitely the breakout player of the year so far for RSL in a short time, and absolutely one of the top breakout players in MLS that came out of nowhere. So what's your expectation for you personally, and the club to keep this hot start?
I mean, first on the team, I think it's important to keep doing what we have been doing. What we have been doing, it gives us success and good results and good feelings on the field. So I think we need to keep doing that. I mean, it's hard work, it's working for each other, it's fighting for each other. I think we continue doing this. I mean, we are not going to play against crazy teams. They're going to be maybe better than teams that we played against, but I think we are able, or we have the quality to win these next games. Are going to be hard, but that's the standard that we want to put. I think the next games, I would not say they will mark our standard or our level, but a little bit, yes. We play against 3 important teams on all the league, on all the country, basically, that we need to prove ourselves to if we want to be on top of the league. And that's our goal, and we know what we have to do to win these games. And individually, nothing. The same as I have been doing. I mean, I need to keep training good, giving Pablo the reasons to keep putting me on the 11. And then, like, when I'm playing, trying to do what I want to do, and what I'm good at, helping the team, pressing, and the opportunity that I have, I think I need to score. I'm also thinking on the opportunity that I had in Kansas. I mean, I could score maybe a hat trick, but I was unlucky.
The crossbar, man. It's the biggest enemy.
I know. But maybe another day I can score 3 goals. If that 2 crossbar goes in. I think we need to continue doing what we have been doing, and no matter the results are, I think we need to keep doing this.
Thank you so much, sir. My last question to you: with the upcoming matchups, who's a player in MLS that you're looking forward to playing against? And what's just something you're looking forward to for the remainder of the season?
I think I need to say Leo Messi. I think playing against him, it's gonna be something crazy to me, to be honest. Coming from Barcelona or close to Barcelona, all my life, supporting him and screaming on him on the TV and watching his highlights, his games, everything. I mean, having the opportunity to play against him is something unbelievable. But also, I think I would like to play against the striker from Nashville. I think he's a great striker. I don't know the name, the blonde
Sturridge?
guy.
Sam Sturridge.
Sturridge, yeah. I think he's a great example of a great style, a great 9. Also, Peter Moose. I mean, these players are top. That's the player that I watch, that I try to replicate as best as I can. So yeah, that's the players that I would like to play against. But yeah, I would say, of course, Messi.
Well, I can't wait to watch you play against those players, Serge. I have one more question before we let you go. You scored numerous goals in college. You scored numerous goals throughout your career. It's why you're a forward. You had 16 goals, I believe, as a team high for UCLA last season. Obviously, it's always nice to see the ball hit the back of the net and having the chance to celebrate with as yourself, with your teammates. But what was the feeling like being able to, especially this last game against Kansas City, finally see the ball hit the back of the net and just hear all of the stadium erupt for you and giving the team the lead again?
It was amazing, to be honest. I was thinking the night before, man, you have to score next weekend. I mean, you have to score tomorrow. I mean, that's the opportunity. Like, everybody's going to be there. A good game. You will have opportunities. You have to score. Yeah, and the halftime after 2 crossbars and that 1-versus-1, I was not focused and I was not worried about myself because I knew that I could have more opportunities. I only had to be calm, relax, and have the composure to think before I shoot and where I had to shoot. And then when I scored, I mean, it's this feeling of relaxation, of this feeling of aspire and achieve what I wanted to achieve. Yeah, it was great to score my first goal in America First Field. And I'm excited for more.
That's great, Serge. Well, we're so excited. We have all the belief that you're going to have plenty of opportunities to celebrate more goals in that stadium, hopefully in plenty of away stadiums as well. Again, we're just so happy to have you on this team. You've been so fun to watch. You've been a real big spark in the attack. And again, all the best from our podcast and all the fans to you, that you can keep scoring goals. And again, we're just so thankful that you had the time to take some time out of your night to come and speak with us today.
Of course. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.